Okay, we should be getting more details from the bigwigs of Pantaloon very soon. Kishore Biyani perhaps himself speaking on the matter. But for the moment, there is another deal as well which will definitely catch the fancy of the market. This is a joint nutrition research center opened in India by Abbott and Syngene, which is owned by Biocon. Joining us now is Kiran Mazumdar, the CMD of Biocon. Kiran, thanks much for joining us. Give us the highlights of this joint research center. What exactly is Syngene bringing to the table?
Well, basically, as you know, Syngene, Lata, is a contract research company. So basically what we are bringing to the table is our scientific talent pool, our research management abilities, and of course we've created a customized research center for Abbott Nutrition. So I think that's the deal. It is basically a research center where Syngene basically provides research services, and it's an outright contract research partnership.
How do you expect business to increase for Biocon itself and for Syngene because of this deal?
Well, Syngene actually is going to benefit because it is actually moving ahead in terms of integrated services. And as you know, a few years ago, we had a very similar customized research services long-term model with Bristol-Myers Squibb, and now Abbott is the second such large long-term research arrangement that we've got into. How Syngene will actually further benefit is the fact that we also have other aspects of the facilities and services which Abbott will tap into, like preclinical, clinical, formulations development at a pilot plant, and many other analytical services and labs that we have on this particular site, which I think Abbott will be able to tap into. So it's a very interesting arrangement where not only Syngene hopes to expand this present relationship. As far as Biocon is concerned, obviously it will be a very different relationship if and when it happens. But right now we're focused on what Syngene is going to be able to deliver for them.
Should we understand that that research center will largely be producing OTC products?
Well, it will be developing largely OTC products. They're basically focusing on the India market to begin with, but obviously many of these products do have global opportunities. So it's, to begin it was basically being talked about as, for India and in India, but I think now they're talking about in India for the world. So I think what they expect to do is to really develop products very specifically, focused on India needs, but obviously it has huge opportunities to take it in other parts of the world as well.
You're investing in your insulin biosimilars on your own, Kiran, after the Pfizer breakup. Do you see the collaboration with Abbott extending to other areas as well outside of what you've done with Syngene?
Well, obviously once you start partnering with a company in one part of your organization, you do hope that you will have other opportunities. Right now there's nothing on the anvil, but as the relationship grows, we do hope that there will be opportunities for both organizations to explore.
Okay, in the con call you perhaps indicated that there could be a listing of Syngene in the next 1 year or so. Is that on track? How in the near term can we expect something on that front as well?
I would hesitate to talk about the near term because you know how the markets are and you know how the Indian economy is. So we will have to wait and watch. But suffice to say that we are certainly very, committed to taking, Syngene to the market. So we are looking still at that 1 year to 1.5 year time frame. But our advisors are basically telling us in terms of the timing.
Okay. Will there be any equity interest that Abbott will show if and when you do an IPO and hive off the stake in Syngene? What is the equity interest at all that is promised or likely from Abbott?
No, I think there is no such intent and there's no such discussions, so I would not be able to comment on such a situation.
It will be very much of interest to Biocon investors to know what will be, say, the revenue or profit implications of this center. By when do you think it will start showing on the P&L at all?
It's already started reflecting in the P&L last quarter, because we actually transited from a small group of scientists that we were supporting in our existing labs to now the dedicated center. So actually you will see it getting reflected this fiscal onwards.
Okay. Any product that you can say that is likely to come off that research center and be launched in India in FY13 itself?
I don't think we are privy to that information. You will have to ask Abbott that information, but we are just providing the services.
Okay. Kiran, last quarter your numbers actually surprised positively, but there are some concerns that statin sales could start declining from here on, and that could actually pressure the financials. Do you think that is likely, or do you think the concern is not really valid at this point?
Well, the concern is not valid for two reasons. One is we are not seeing that decline, and secondly, with the rupee being where it is, obviously we benefit from that weak rupee in terms of our exports.
How soon, if at all, can we expect a likely partnership on the insulin biosimilars front, because that perhaps is something that the market has been watching very closely. Do you think it could be possible in the next say 2 or 3 quarters?
I think I explained earlier on that we have many existing partners that predated Pfizer, and we had restricted them to certain parts of our insulin's portfolio. Now that Pfizer has exited this space, we are obviously now forging much larger partnerships with all these partners. So we are already beginning to gain traction in terms of how we look at emerging markets. I think the main thing to watch is how we get into partnering our insulin portfolio in US and Europe, and that should happen in the not too distant future.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Kiran, for joining us with those details. So that's a joint research center, so more perhaps contract research coming Syngene's way, which perhaps in the future can benefit Biocon investors as well. That's the Prime Minister summoning key economic ministers to discuss infrastructure and the economy. About time these have to be discussed and attended to. Let's take a break, but we have to take a check on what's happening in the European markets. We have seen the CAC kind of holding ground, but it was the DAX which seemed to have lost a bit. The FTSE, of course, is closed for trading today. Let's check out European moves when we return.